Alright, hello and welcome to another episode of this Hearts of Iron 4 tutorial slash game explanation, in-depth game explanation from beginner to intermediate. We are finally have taken the Danzig or war focus, which means we will be able to declare on Poland in about 70 days. So in this particular episode, we're going to try and set our armies up and line them up against both Poland and remember France is likely to guarantee, so we're going to need to guard our thing. We're going to assign our generals. We're going to explain a thing or two about. We're going to try to fill up our fuel supply, our fuel stockpiles. I'm sorry about the mishap. We're still training up. Air Force. That's fine. We're also going to organize our navy, which by organizing our navy is just going to mean just for now just abandoning it, throwing everything in here in Schleswig-Holstein, and just leaving it there until a later stage in the war where it's going to become important. So this is not meant as a Navy guide. If you want a Navy guide, I will repost. I've already likely posted a link before to an excellent guide that was done by Mordred Viking. I will repost it in the description or in the first pinned comment of this video as well. Okay, so and I absolutely encourage you to watch that. So just taking a quick look over here, I need 7 more divisions of infantry, which will be trained more or less. I am training everything that I have here in infantry to get them up to an allowable level, and considering that there are some divisions who may reach the status before the other ones. These would be the old Austrian divisions who started out as infantry, and they're likely to be a little bit more trained than the rest. I'm just going to dump them into a different army and train them separately, just so I can keep a separate eye on them. Also, we need to assign some commanders and stuff. So I'll put in the field marshal that I promoted earlier, and I intend to give him a defensive doctrine to increase his entrenchment. I'm not going to use my infantry for attack, so that's one. And I have 2 more available traits. I want to keep in mind that he will likely earn the trait of infantry leader, and I want to assign him the trait of infantry expert. So I am just going to give him instead the extra reinforce rate. And when we're going to have some time, I'll give him charismatic as well. So my number 1 concern will be France, so I will set up Schultz over here against France, and I will just use the other infantry to set up against Poland. Just to set up my advance against Poland, what we want to do is we want to push through plains as much as possible and basically create a pocket. So the way I see it is we can push here, here. So depending on how greedy we want to make this, so we can push here, 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 and here, and it will automatically encircle this area of troops. But if we want to be a little bit more adventurous, and I think we I think that there is nothing holding us from that. There's nothing holding us back from that. We can push here, here, here over this small river, here, here over this large river, and then up here to either Torun or these two provinces. And as soon as the cat hears me talk, it's coming into the conversation. It's just that kind of a cat, it needs attention. So I will set up my front line over here, over these two very small provinces, and let's go for the bigger. Let's go for the bigger. Now, this tells my tanks to try and occupy this entire line. However, I will change it so that it tries to. Let me see. So that it. So that we go over like so. Now this way, if we look, it's going to try to, yeah, to go across like so. Okay, and now I'm going to put the three motorized divisions also on this front. I will likely get some more of them out, and there's no reason why they do not deploy right here directly. I will likely get some of them out as well. Actually, there's one thing you can do. If you have an army and you already know where you want these divisions to be automatically assigned, you can automatically assign them to an order. It goes the same for an offensive order. So these two divisions, these two division packs that are getting trained, whenever they finish training, they will be automatically assigned to these orders. Now, the army itself, I will assign it to an army group. I'm going to get Manstein in charge of my army, and I'm going to get Rommel in charge of the actual. So I'm going to get Manstein in charge of the army group, and I will get Rommel in charge of the actual army. I will wait a little further and disperse my. Oh yes, we had just researched the Molotov-Ribbentrop. So the Soviet Union has signed the pact. We have insufficient resources, that is steel. We need 4 steel to produce something. What is it? Convoys. Yeah, I don't care about that. Okay. Well, right now I'm just babysitting the infantry, waiting for it to come up. I will also reassign some of the Air Force, and actually part of it can be done right now, and that is all of these. Yeah, well, okay, fine. Let's first deal with this story. So everything. So I have 3 open civilian factories. I am going to trade them away to Venezuela for oil, all of them. And that reduces my open civilian. Why? Because I need to fill up my consumption. I'm also going to push for a limited time only the conversion of motorized. And I notice here that after we took over Czechoslovakia, we have a whopping insane amount of tanks that we can convert to light SP artillery, and we are going to do just that. This is going to represent an insane drop in the quantity of steel that we are needing, which means we can go down with the steel that we are importing. I'm going to keep Hungary and Spain, but I am going to drop off one from Japan, and I am actually going to drop off two from Japan and put two more factories in buying oil. We want to get that oil filled up as soon as possible. Let me see. Okay, so all of these close air support, I will assign them to, I will assign 100 of them. So actually I will assign all of them first to the army, and it's 260. I'm going to split it in half, and well, actually I'm just going to leave all of them here for a while. You can click this button to select all of them, and I will give them the close air support order. And now as far as fighters are concerned, let's go back to the air field. Now as fighters are concerned, I will also assign two fighter wings. So I'll use this one with the ace and this one that was already in France, and I will put them on air superiority only and assign them to my tank division. Now the rest of the air force I will leave here for now, and I'll touch it at a later date. What do we have here? We have some more CAS that is doing pilot exercises, and over here we have some more CAS that's doing pilot exercises. And in the meantime we have 3 fighter wings and what is this air wing? This is a wing of 400 tactical bombers who aren't doing anything, so I'll just exercise them as well up to regular. We have more available civilian factories, which means we can trade for more factories. Okay, we have a lack of rubber and a lack of steel. I'm actually, so how many factories do we have available? One more. I am going to throw this into wait, the rubber is just affecting our production of naval bombers. I don't really care. We cannot deploy this because we don't have enough manpower. Okay, that is an important point. We will have to trade the extensive conscription. We will have to trade the limited conscription for extensive conscription right away, as fast as possible. We are going to just ask for one more steel from Venezuela. Okay. And we have some more. Okay, we have improved our production of rubber. It's 1939, we're on the brink of war. Let's improve the field hospitals and also the logistics when we get a chance. We have another empty civilian factory which we will send to Venezuela for some more oil. We want to fill up our entire stockpile of oil technically before we declare, and right now it's going to take us 223 days for that to happen. We have however gotten rid of our consumption of steel, our extra consumption of steel, so we can absolutely close the entire trade with Sweden, which was with Manchukuo, and send 2 more factories to Venezuela for oil. this will have the effect of speeding up our oil stockpiling, but only up to a certain extent. We have more factories that are available. Again, it's just one. I have no idea where these factories come from. Most likely there are factories that we get from trade, because we are on free trade, from other nations, and we are able to swap out one of these factories to in our construction queue, and just use one of our local factories to trade out for some oil to come in. So okay, we'll do that, and this will speed it up even further, up to 449 days. The engineer company is gone. We'll research logistics instead. We have some more free factories. Again, it's just one. Let's boost up by one more to Romania, and let me see. Yeah, and okay, we've gotten the next recon company. It's 1939. We could do this. This gives this should give some anti-air bombing damage reduction, but overall I don't know if I care about it that much. It's 1939, it's August 1939, which means technically the next improvement in computing is available. So I'm going to go for that right now. We're already researching a doctrine. Danzig war is only 20 days away. How's the training going? Well, these guys are going to be able to train up to full, and then the others I'm just going to have to distribute them in armies just the way they are, unfortunately. And we have some decisions available, but we don't care about that. We're producing something for no template. We know that from the very beginning. That is the towed anti-air. Here we go, we're almost there. We have the next level of excavation, and that's good. And since we are getting close to 1940, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start improving. So basically 1940 is a year where you have two static bonuses for your infantry equipment. You have the option to invest into mechanized, but even if you do not invest into mechanized, by researching this you get extra hardness in your motorized divisions, which is a very, very good thing to get as a static bonus. 1940 we have an extra bonus on artillery, and we have a new set of airplanes. Also, if we are to look into Navy, we have the next generation of ships that we will need to invest in. So it's time to get really invested in the next generation, and that is the next gen. And I'm going to start with the next generation of fighters. The difference between the Focke-Wulf 190 and the Bf 109 should be quite apparent. We have a lot more agility. Now, if you remember, our Bf 109s have version A have an increased agility. I think the reason why we're not allowed to convert this Bf 109 to this Bf 109 is because we have not decommissioned it. I think that as soon as we have decommissioned it, we are all of a sudden allowed to convert them. So that was a mistake that I made, and as you can see, we can then convert them freely without any more resource costs. So that was on me. That's why we couldn't convert them. So this version of the 109 has, actually I'll just hover over it, it has an agility of 62.5, but once we research the new Focke-Wulf, we have a starting agility of 65, so already a little bit better in agility. probably a little bit better in speed, the same type of reliability. The production cost is a little higher, but not significantly higher. The resource cost is exactly the same, and we will likely be able to improve the agility of the Focke-Wulf as well. And most likely we're going to be able to do that from the very beginning, because after the war starts we're going to get loads and loads of air experience. Air experience is something that you will not be lacking in this game. So I think the most important thing to research right now is the new fighters as soon as possible, so that we can start producing them as soon as possible. And also, here's a place where I will give the Messerschmitt, take the Messerschmitt designer. Why? Because it gives me an extra 10% agility and extra 10% max speed, which is just going to give us, frankly, you can just check it out now. You'll see that rather than 65, it starts at 71.5, which is even better. So, and whatever we add on top of that is going to start from the 71.5 value rather than the 65. So we just need to boost up that agility to make our planes as hard to shoot down as possible. We have some free civilian factories, one of them. So, and we also can stop trading 2 factories to British Malaya just because of that. Trick we did with the BF-109s, where we can just now convert them without consuming any more resources. So I will put all of these 3 factories into oil trading. I put one against the Romanians, and I will put let's say 2 against the Netherlands. So, and we also have some extra steel, which means I can drop down this trade that I have with Spain and throw it into another oil, which I will get from let's say Iran. Okay, there we go. So now we should be getting oil much faster. Well, we have 80 days until it's full stockpile, and we are on the brink of Danzig or war, which means that I will absolutely stop the training of all of these fighter wings and whatever else I have. Some fighter wings training, I will stop the training. I'm also splitting them into 20 stacks. I will stop these guys from training. They can remain at 100. And these guys, they are also trained, so I'll stop them. But I won't split them up. I think I'll just throw them into the sea and use them as naval bombers. Okay, so we're almost ready, which means we need to stop training and send and distribute our troops around. So let's do that. A general can take care of 24 troops, so I will just sort of try and split out the okay, and then just sort of like even them out one towards the other. So basically move some units from like over here I have 3 extra units, just move them around to get some kind of balanced army. So basically I am still requiring 7 infantry units, and I am training 7, so once they will come out, they'll come out. Over here I need motorized and support equipment to get the tanks out, and I need again motorized and support equipment to get these out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also deploy everything that I can here, and they will be automatically assigned to this order. Okay, so now then, I am mostly just interested in holding, so I'm going to send these 22 guys to and I'm also going to remove these guys from Königsberg and send them here to Schleswig-Holstein. So okay, hitting back one back. So I intend to send these guys to Ostpreußen just to hold the area. First of all, I need to check if Poland has not entered. Sometimes Poland forms its own faction with Lithuania, but since they haven't done that, it means they're going to join the Allies. I am sending them over there. Perhaps it's a good idea to send them, since we have an extra army. Perhaps it's a good idea to send them to assign them to a different general, but no, I don't think so. So I'll assign them to Witzewebel, and I'm going to need another infantry general, just sorted out by defense and infantry. So the next guy we could take would be, I'm going to bypass Willem Rutter von Lieb for several reasons. I'm going to bypass Willem List for now, but I'm going to assign him to an army in the end. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to give him command of this army. So there you go. Willem List, your job is to hold Ostpreußen for us. I need to change, just because I'm used to having my panzers in bright colors that pop up. So okay, then I'm going to use two armies over here on this particular front, which they will sort of split duties. I'm trying to figure out if I may be in danger of anything or not. I could theoretically send some units down here in Africa, and I think I'm actually going to do that for a change, just for holding. So I will put this unit under on live, and then this I'll just have it overlap a little bit with the other one, and take the rest of Poland. Yeah, so let's just give them an order here too. These guys, I want to also give them an order, just in case they need to attack, so that they can build up a little tiny bit of planning bonus. Okay, I'll assign them here too. So now to assign some commanders to them, I'm going to give them. I'm going to give Heinrichi, and I also giving him Fortress Buster. I'm going to give Gotthard Heinrichi to the top army. As you can see, there's a lot of forts up here, and I'm going to give Blaskowitz the bottom army. And now we have two more armies left, two more army groups left. I'm going to put this army on the Netherlands, because immediately after we will go against the Netherlands. We won't go against Belgium until Netherlands has capitulated. So this guy, I will also assign him, and now my field marshal, who can command 5 different armies, is full, and that's partly what made me consider. So the next guy that we can put here, that we can put in charge here, is who is Kesselring, and I'm going to create a new army group and have half of them go over on this border, and the rest of them defend this part of Italy. And I will give them none other than third student, just because of the logistics problems, and I will give them this is a famous Austrian general that the AI tends to promote to field marshal because he's the best general they have, and they sort of waste him. He's an excellent general, but he's not really that great of a field marshal. So I will have a model take care of Africa, and I will give him a reinforce rate as a trait. If you remember, I had some problems. So I'll send model down in Africa with a student to manage my African front. Alright, we're almost ready for war. I'm going to... Now you're going to see everybody just travel around like mad. We have Danzig or war. I'm going to wait a little with the next focus, just because we could theoretically take around the Maginot real fast in just 28 days, but we could also do some other stuff, so I don't know. Let me see what Italy is doing, I'm curious. Poland refuses the ultimatum, which means we now have a war goal. They refuse to see Danzig. We gain a conquer war goal against Poland, and we gain a core on Danzig. We also have a lot of free civilian factories, and Italy is doing submarine efforts. So we could take around the Maginot real fast. Or we could do the second Ljubljana award and then do Fate of Greece quickly before Italy starts a war in Greece. That's going to open up another front for us down there. Alternatively, we need to remember that we also should take this focus too. So we are starting to run a bit out of time. Since around the Maginot isn't a focus that will take us too long, we now have some free civilian factories, quite a lot of them. In fact, I believe it's 15. So I will try to get all of the oil so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Iran, and let's say 10 with the US. This will be just a momentary boost for the USA, just so that I can fill up my oil as quickly as possible. I still need to give it some time for my troops to get to their assigned location. As you can see, these divisions are still in transit, so we're not going to rush to war. So this tells me that I have some time before we start the war, so I'm going to get to do this Ljubljana award right now. We have some free military factories. One of them, I think I'm going to sink this factory into support equipment, since apparently we need a lot of it. We're missing some steel, but that's in the convoy area. We don't really care about it. So I will wait until my troops have reached down here their position. I will also send. Let me just in taking a look at the air zone. We are within the North African air zone, and we will be pretty close to the center, so I will send some fighters down there. So we have 3 fighter wings here. I'll just use 2 fighter wings, which I will send down here. I can rebase them at the base of an allied, and I will give them air superiority and interception. just the basic idea for North Africa is to first hold as much as possible. Okay, I'm going to use these bombers as naval bombers and send them over the lower Baltic. I'm going to all do the same for the naval bombers that I do have. I'm going to send these. I'm going to assign some of these to. Actually, I will assign all of them to this army. So, moving on. We only have 100 fighters over Eastern Germany. I will put them up in the air for air superiority and interception. I will take another 200 planes, put them over Western Germany, where France is likely to bomb us. So also air superiority and interception. I'll take another 200 planes. Oops, sorry, I think I made a mistake there. Let me just have them run in. So I'll take another 200 planes. I'll put them over, and that sound you heard is a very important sound. I'll put them over Northwest Germany, and again with air superiority and interception. And the final 200 planes I will put over Western Poland just for air superiority. We'll discuss that later. So I think I have moved around all of the Air Force that I need to have. And let's take a look at the low supplies. I have low supplies down here in Africa, and that is a problem. So let me take a look at the supply map mode. Basically, we are 1 point over supply. That's not entirely a bad thing, but it could be. So what I'm going to do is just take one of these guys from this region and just park his ass over here in Tripoli. And this should theoretically solve our supply problem. Let me just double check as he's moving out. Yeah, now the supply is fine again in this area. Okay, so there we go. We have some unfulfilled import requests. We don't care about it. We just want to get the oil up as quickly as possible. We are now lacking some more rubber, which tells me that we are done converting the old BF 109s, and I think that what we are going to do is we're going to move down from free trade for once to in order to get an extra 30%, because we will be unable to import rubber as soon as the war starts. So let's actually do that. We're going to move back down to limited exports just to make sure we have all of our exports, and we will abandon all the bonuses that we have made use of for now. We just use them as a partial boost, and that is just because right now we need to be, maybe we can afford to go down on export focus only, but no, I doubt it. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go down to limited exports, which means that we are instantly going to have a lot more factories to play with, and we're going to have to redo all of this trade, and we have a lot of civilian factories for a while. There we go. Now, what are we missing? We are missing 38 tungsten. We're going to try and get as much of it that we can from Sweden, because Sweden will be somewhat protected. And other than that, do we have any tungsten in our neighbors? We have some in France, Belgium, and Italy. Has none. I think Italy has closed their economy. So we will try and get it from Portugal. Just 3 factories worth of tungsten. Thank you very much. Okay, and as soon as the war starts, we're going to try and see how we can divert this this tungsten from Portugal to get it to come to us somehow. Or technically, although we wouldn't have to import it from Portugal necessarily, we could import it from the Soviet Union. And that way all the trade will come through the Baltic Sea. Yes, I think that's what we're going to do. So even though we're giving the Soviet Union 3 extra civilian factories that they can use to boost up their industry, it'll be fine in the long run. We have some more available civilian factories, so let's just have them do something. And what I will have them do is I will have them boost up the infrastructure between us and Poland. And also, no, I think that's about it. Okay, the reason for that is I'm going to want to move supply east at a certain date, so wink wink, nudge nudge. Okay, that's the oil. We need 6 more days until we're ready. We still have some supply issues sometimes, probably likely down here. Yeah, it's because the supply is fluctuating. Unfortunately, there's really really nothing I can. Holy, I just received a message that I need to take care of right now, so I'm going to stop the recording here. Thank you for watching. Give me a like, a subscribe, and we will talk again some other time.